This is News 24, I'm Erin Bates. We're gradually making our way through the 3rd of August and the ballot boxes are filling up with ballots as South Africans cast their votes in the municipal elections. I'm sitting down with Ralph Mapeka, who is an independent political analyst. And Ralph, I really want to start with you talking about the political climate around these elections, the contestation, the factionalism in the leading party, what's happened in terms of the change of face of DA. What is the broader picture in which these elections are taking place?
I think that the election seems to be a carryover from the 2014 general elections, which were actually characterized by political tensions across different political parties. We had seen immediately after the 2014 that environment of a heavy contest among political parties going into parliament, and the context and also the tensions have been kept alive until these elections. And one of the issues that has been talked about most is the Nkandla issue. The opposition parties, including the newer ones that came in the 2014, have been able to sustain the conversation and the narrative about Nkandla, therefore casting aspersions on the leadership that the ANC is providing. That tension, that mistrust among political parties actually have moved into these local government elections to a point where one asks himself as to whether the issues that have been talked about here, do they really concern local government, or is it just the issues of national government? It appears to me that much focus was on issues that we would say reside at national government. But if political parties believe that the character of parties as displayed at national government has an impact on how parties are going to govern at local government, so be it. Let them bring those issues that actually traditionally belong to national government to local government. Perhaps citizens need that to process that information as a way of deciding. We can't say that let's keep it clean, let's keep it about only service delivery, because citizens are not just passive consumers of services. They are being offered a political service on its own, and it needs to be a better political service. That is why I think that some parties actually didn't do much when it comes to manifestos. They're just saying, we're going to give you clean government, we're going to give you clean councillors, people who are not scandalous. This has to do with the scandals that have actually brought the national leadership.
What, in terms of the results, are you expecting? Are you expecting this to really put a dent in the ANC and put a dent in the party overall? Or are the cracks already showing to the point where this is just another kind of line or another card falling in a line of cards?
Well, if you look at elections from the previous elections, I feel like the 2011 elections were like yesterday, because we were here looking at the performance of the ANC. But if you look at the performance of the ANC, even across general election, the party has been losing 2.9% or 3% on average, election on elections.
Is this from 94?
It's from 94. The cumulative figure that they've been losing is about in that range. In some year it spikes a little bit, but the cumulative figure is that the ANC sheds 3% election on election. The big challenge.
Sorry, those IEC results.
Yeah, if you look at the result, you look at the election result, you compare the previous election and so forth, you find that loss. Of course, that is the national average. In certain areas, in certain provinces, in certain municipalities, you might find that loss to be much more high, but the national average is that 2.9%.
And I imagine there may be areas where they gain.
Exactly, there are some areas where they would gain. The problem with these elections, or maybe the challenge, is when that 3% crosses that 50% down. That is where the problem is. The ANC has been shedding votes throughout. It's going to be very difficult for them to suddenly gain votes. There is no trend that indicates that they're gaining votes. And there is speculations that actually the polls are indicating that they actually just might struggle to get to that 51%. When we do the final tally, we might end up finding that actually the ANC has lost on average 5% or so. It's not significant compared to what they've been losing on 3%, but the significance of this is that this time it throws them below 51%.
And then we talk about coalition.
That is exactly where, this is how these elections stand out compared to the other elections. The ANC is not used to try to hold on to that 51. They have got it comfortably before, but now they might be below.
And